All right, welcome to this learning session. In this one, we're going to talk about time-based recovery, which is a new page in the Bitcoin Design Guide created by Michael. And I will not talk very much, but um, while he was working on it, I was also working on something else, and we had these reading sessions where we got together and just kind of read through the whole page from top to bottom, and it was super helpful. So the idea was that we kind of do a similar approach where we just kind of take turns reading from top to bottom, and where things make sense, or where things don't make sense, we just kind of talk about it and just take it from there. How does that sound? It requires a little bit of interaction here. If everyone here, maybe just raise your hand real quick if you're cool reading, or if you're just kind of listening in, doing something else, that's cool too. Go for it. Oh yeah, you raised your hand. I can read too. So who else? Mo, you're happy to read? You don't have to. Cool. How about everyone else? Steven's listening.
They don't have hands.
Okay. You can change your mind. Maybe in 20 minutes. Okay, sounds good. Okay then. So let me share the link one more time here. Yeah, already shared it. Should I just get us going? Or Michael, do you want to say anything about it? Or should we even say anything about it and let the content speak for itself as we go through it?
Yeah, maybe let's not say too much. And other than it was pretty effective last time that we did this. So
Mhm.
it's would be really nice to get kind of an unfiltered feedback without talking too much.
Mhm.
And because then we can see whether it's well enough explained or if we have to go over it one more time.
Okay.
But I'm working on a in parallel on a more advanced thing than this year. So let's see if we get this right and can move on.
Yeah. Okay, since it's your page, I'll just kick us off. And contextually, I don't just come here out of nowhere. I'll probably look through the design guide. This is a subpage of the savings wallet, so I'm probably familiar with the saving wallet, for which it's of course a Bitcoin wallet. There are three keys, but it's basically me holding one key on the device, one key on a separate device, hardware wallet, and then there's this auto signer in, and that's kind of the context for this time-based recovery. Uh, this main reference design covers the onboarding and the wallet setup and other stuff. And then this time-based recovery page is a sub-page of that one. So you'd probably or make your way in there. And then let's say I land on this page. I see big letters time-based recovery. I see these two images here at the top. Recovery path optional. Okay, looks kind of cool. I'll make my way through there, and then I'll start reading here. So in this reference design, we look at the variations of the savings wallet reference design. So good, sets that foundation for me. Specifically, we design a wallet application that allows users to enable a simple recovery path in order to provide even more fault tolerance than a regular multi-key wallet. Okay, so I have an option to have better security, I guess, in case something happens. Cool. Prior reading, okay, the use case for this design is relatively simple. However, we will be referencing some advanced Bitcoin concepts and capabilities that are provided by miniscript, okay? If you are unfamiliar with the topic, please read the custom spending conditions page before diving deeper into this reference design. Okay, so I know miniscript. I read this other page, so I'm kind of familiar with it. But let's. I'm just going to quickly pretend I'm not. Where does this miniscript take me? Okay, this is a language for writing certain types of Bitcoin script in a structured way. It's easier to read by developers. Okay, cool. I don't really know what it does, but I guess it's something for developers that helps them. Cool. All right, sounds good. Then I'm going to get to this custom spending conditions page. I'll just take a quick look. Like, okay, it's kind of complex. Okay, I'll get back to it if I can't make sense of things. But so it's good to have these links there ready, right? All right, use case. A multi-key wallet offers a number of advantages, especially for storing large amounts of Bitcoin. Therefore, Bob and Alice want to create a 2 of 3 multi-key wallet for their savings. Bob will hold the first key, while his wife Alice will hold a second key. In addition, they have a third key locked away in a safety deposit box. Okay, makes sense? Yeah. However, the couple worries about a situation where they lose access to 2 of the keys. In that case, they would lose all of their savings. To protect themselves against this scenario, our application offers them the possibility to enable a recovery path, which automatically lowers the amount of signatures needed to 1 of 3 after 6 months. This will allow them to lose 2 keys and still be able to recover their savings. Okay, how about we take a pause here? How does that? I've read this a bunch of times, so I feel like I'm the worst to point out anything here. Uh, Michael, you're also intimately familiar with it. Mo, how does it sound to you?
I'm also a little bit biased because I read it a few times as well, and I also helped with
Yeah.
contributing. So it's my third or fourth time being exposed to the content.
Mhm.
So I do understand it. I mean, in simple terms, it's to me what I understand is, hey, I have a wallet that I share with other people, and I want to safeguard the wallet and make sure that it's still accessible should XYZ go wrong. And then I would set up this setup, which would have this sort of opening process where the wallet would slowly open itself up through certain stages, and that will allow accessibility to the funds in the wallet. So this is my explain to a 5-year-old version of how I understand it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like you have a little box that has 2 keys, and then if you lose one, well, you're kind of stuck. But this special box, then after half a year, it changes, so you only need 1 key to open it. Yeah, and I think I feel like the severity of the failure is important here. So, I mean, I would just assume that Bob and Alice also have backups of each of those keys. So there are 3 keys in total, and then there are backups of those keys. So, in order for this recovery path to actually become important, they need to lose 2 keys and the backups of those 2 keys, which is quite a lot of stuff to lose. Right? Because you would assume that
Exactly.
if they
Yeah.
realize that 1 key, that they don't store that all in the same place, and that if 1 key is lost, like if you lose the backup, you can recreate the backup. If you lose the key on whatever device you have, you can restore it from the backup, right? You ideally, they like every 6 months or so, they do kind of a security checkup and make sure all the information is still where it needs to be. But yeah, if they don't, and then realize at some point, or their house burns down or something like that, and they realize 2 keys are gone, the only thing that's in that they still have is that safety deposit box, then they can still recover stuff. They just have to wait for a while. So yeah, it's quite a severe situation, I think, that protects against here.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have to go wrong. I mean, assuming you do your backups well, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you kind of check onto them, which is also, it's easy to just forget about these things, I think. Um,
Mhm.
okay, process overview. Does anyone else want to read this one?
I can read. All right, process overview. Below is a description of the high-level phases involved in setting up and using the wallets described above. For this reference design, we'll be focusing mainly on the user flows for wallet creation and recovery. Okay, number 1, wallet creation. Choose the primary key scheme used for spending under normal circumstances, 2 of 3 in our case. Then I have to register the signing devices to the wallet by importing the 3 extended public keys. Okay, then enable the recovery path, and that should be the last step of creating the wallet. Then obviously create a backup, import the wallet. Signers, yeah, and that our application. Whoa.
Sorry, I got kicked out, so I'm in here twice right now. I rejoined, and my previous recording was apparently still on, but I think it just. Anyways, I think I'm back and we're recording now again. So I hope it works. And I have
All
a good
right.
recording of it. Yeah, sorry, and I missed.
I hope the. Okay, completely or just kind of this.
Well, I don't know, right? I don't know what I missed, but just keep going, I guess.
All right. Now, for creating the wallets, the process for creating the wallet is very similar to the one that is covered in the saving. Yep.
If I could just add one thing, as of today, we in the multi-key section here, we have these diagrams that explain this stuff as well. That just got merged in. So that could be a good reference to add.
Yep. All right. Let's go about creating the wallet. So it's very similar to the one that is covered in the savings wallet reference design. The main differences for this design is that all signing keys are hardware wallets or external signers, and that our application offers a recovery path. All right. Primary key scheme. Sounds very serious and schemy. Let's start creating the wallet. For our product, we assume that our users already have a basic understanding of how Bitcoin wallets work. Okay, probably yes, since they're storing a lot of value in there and they need robust savings. They worry about their savings, so it's safe to say probably that they know what they're doing. Therefore, the application lets them choose from a couple of the most common key schemes. And then we have a couple of mock-ups here that show this creation flow, or the beginning of the creation flow. Create a new wallet. Then I kind of choose the security scheme. I see that there's also a feature that helps me decide. An overview, what to expect, and I should choose a PIN for the wallet. Some users may need help deciding on the best solution for them, and our application gives them an option to run through a set of questions about their specific needs and suggest a setup based on the answers. So that's, I assume, is this help me decide option here at the bottom. And power users will find a custom option which gives them the freedom to define a key scheme from scratch. All right, that sounds flexible. If you're designing your own product, it's important to think about the target audience to determine the options that you offer.
Yeah. For example, BitKey, they don't ask you any of this stuff, but they just give you one option and that's it. So if your product is, well, there's just not a lot of flexibility, right? But if you want to streamline your product and get away from all of these options, then you can get that specific. But then you just have to assume it only works for certain use cases. You have to be pretty convinced that this works for enough people.
Yeah, I think Blue Wallet is also kind of limited in that regard, but I'd have to recheck. I think it's also just a 2 or 3 if you create a wallet in Blue.
I have a question here for around the PIN. It says, since you need a high level of security, we recommend setting a PIN. But since none of the keys no key is on this device, then I guess the PIN always prevents people from seeing addresses, from seeing the balance, but it has no effect on any additional security related to actually transacting.
No, the idea was is to kind of having to unlock the wallet if you want to do anything with it. So it is kind of a kind of an on-device security mechanism, but it doesn't impact the way that it works in terms of sending transactions or receiving them or working with the wallet itself. It's just kind of an additional layer of security on the device, so that if my device gets stolen, that I can't, that then somebody or I lose it, people don't see how much Bitcoin I have on that wallet, even if the keys are not on it.
Yep. Okay, cool.
All right. Should I go on, or Mo, is it your turn?
I'm happy to read. I mean, if it's my turn, more than happy. Where should I begin? Importing the co-signing public keys?
Yep.
Okay. Because this was actually, I'm happy I'm reading this part, because this part for me is the part that was not, I need to try to understand this better. So importing the co-signer public keys. After the basics have been defined, the extended public keys XPubs of the designated signing devices need to be imported to the wallet application. So there's these external signing devices, and now we need to import them into the wallet application. So there's these keys, and each of these keys have XPubs, if I understand correctly. And then first Bob imports the XPub from his Trezor and a cold card, and that would be placed in the safety deposit box. In which safety deposit box? This part is a little bit confusing for me. After that, he hands the phone to Alice so that she can do the same with her bitbox. Another way to do this would be for Alice to export her XPub and send it to Bob over a secured channel. So there's these external hardware wallets, which all have their own public keys. And the confusing part is I'm not understanding where the safety deposit box part is fitting into this. They share a safety deposit box between them?
Yeah, that's the in the use case description at the top is the idea is that they each have one signing device or one hardware wallet to sign transactions, and they only need each of them only needs one because it's a 2 or 3 wallet, and the third one is basically locked away in a safety deposit box.
Okay, right. I see that here now. Okay.
Question: does anyone here on this call have a safety deposit box or ever had one?
Never.
Okay. Okay, cool.
I have one.
You had one? Okay.
I think they're kind of rare these days.
Yeah, it can also be in a different location, in a safe location. That's the basic point.
And another way to do this would be for Alice to export her XPub and send it over to Bob over a secured channel. Okay, this now makes sense. The XPub linked to the external hardware wallet, and then for safety's sake, they're putting Bob exposed XPub from his Trezor and a cold card that will be placed in the safety deposit box. So you see, he's placing his Trezor and the cold card in the safety deposit. First, Bob imports the XPub from his Trezor and a cold card that will be placed in the safety deposit box. I think this sentence over here, when I read it, it feels like the treasure and the cold card are being placed in the safety deposit box. And but if that is correct, yes?
No, only the cold card is
Only
being
the
placed,
cold
but
card.
it's a good point.
Okay.
Could be clearer.
Let's set up key number
And also
one.
what
Mhm.
also what I noticed is that what the way in which these XPubs get imported is you can either connect the device directly, via cable, and that's what Bob is basically doing, and Alice as well. So that's the kind of the default here. And since I don't mention that here, or we don't mention that here, this next sentence, another way to do this would be to export XPub and send it over a channel. Doesn't probably make too much sense because it has to be probably more distinct, saying that okay, these they connect it or they import it via connecting it via a cable, but there is another way to do it.
Those key images that Christoph created for the other page that just went live would be so helpful here, because just one image with the box and then showing that that's where the cold card is going in, and then I think that would just make this it feels a little bit spaghetti, but that would just visually bring this in context for people.
Yeah, with the cold card you actually have to connect. I think the new one can do, what is it, KFC, NFC, Bluetooth, whatever. But the old ones you have to use a micro SD card. A Jade can use Bluetooth, so you get these very different different adapters, different. I think Bitbox you have to directly plug in, so they're just very different communication techniques or connection points. So maybe it's just say like, maybe it's the point. The easiest thing is to just say you connect them or transfer them, and then you, in quote parentheses, you just say each wallet connects differently, or something like that. And maybe we can explain that somewhere else. So I mean, that's not a huge part of this page, right?
I think these
but it's something that is not really that clear. And I tried most of them, and also even the cold card you can connect with a cable. So it's also difficult to find a setup, or not as trivial to find a setup where all the hardware wallets play nice with the software. But it's also something to think about.
I think then. Sorry, go ahead, Christoph.
Well, with the bit key, you just need to hold it under your phone, basically. Connects.
Yeah.
Or the tab signer as well.
I think these visuals bring it in very nicely, though. I think if you read the importing bit and then you don't fully understand it, the visuals do bring in some level of understanding, because then you see, okay, the keys are set up, and then you see the names of the different devices here, and then you've got Bitbox. So I'm seeing now, let's set up key number one, and we're going to name the key, and then key number one, import flow, key number one of three. Okay, I'm going to set up all keys. Oh, there is one small typo here. Set up KY. Yeah. That was and I'm the queen of typos, by the way, because I'm dyslexic. So please do not think that please don't think that I have a good eye for these things. But yeah, small typo over there. And then key 2 and 3 import flow, and then signing devices already, and then white treasure, black cold card, and this is very nice here. So it's nice. This is very nice. Should I read the next paragraph? Oh, I'm happy to give it up to someone else as well.
I'll do it. We can take turns. Okay. And this is where it really gets to the meat of this whole feature. About half hour into the call. Enabling the recovery path. The final step of wallet creation flow is to enable the recovery path. Although they are a great way to increase fault tolerance and thus prevent loss of funds, we want this option to be treated as an optional feature that is not forced on users. Okay, that's kind of a long sentence with I think it's easier if you switch it around. So it leads linearly. Like we don't want this. We want this option to be treated as an optional feature for the users. But actually, why? Although they are, that means we need to provide users. Well, why should it not be forced on users? I guess that's the question here. It doesn't give a reason for it. Why it should be optional, not required. I get probably because of the overhead of having to think about it and unlocking and doing these transactions to restart the time lock, whatnot. Okay, anyways, that means we need to provide users with all the information they need to make an appropriate decision. If the recovery path is enabled, our application uses smart defaults to propose a suitable key scheme based on the wallet. Since we are creating a 2 of 3 wallet, the application will suggest a 1 of 3 recovery path. This recommendation will be different for other wallet types. Okay, cool. It tries to help me out. That's good. It also suggests that the recovery path will be unlocked after 6 months if the funds have not been spent. Yeah, I mean, if I spend my funds, what's the point of a recovery path, right? However, users can always choose a different time frame that better suits their situation. Yeah, I think I know what you're trying to say here. If the funds have not been spent, meaning that it resets with a transaction. But I think I just read it kind of differently. In addition, our application also provides users with the option to set reminders at different times before the recovery path unlocks. Yeah, I feel like we should talk about this. I mean, for me, I logically just get it. I don't know. Mo, does this make sense to you?
It's no, not for me.
Okay, what are the points?
If the recovery path is enabled, the application use smart to propose a suitable key scheme. Okay, we creating the application suggests that 1 of 3 recovery path. This recommendation will be different. Because I think it's actually the last sentence of both of these paragraphs. So the last sentence is, this is a recommendation for other wallet types, and then users can choose a different time frame. So I think once my brain has read through both paragraphs, I'm asking myself, so what is actually the recommended setting? Because it seems like there's 2 options here, and it's 2 different topics. Like does it make sense what I've just said? No.
Yeah, I mean it may be this to your first point, kind of this the sentence this recommendation will be different for other wallet types. Maybe that's not really needed, but the idea there is would be that if you create a 3 out of 5 wallet, then the recommendation would be 2 of 5, right? It wouldn't be 1 of. So it's basically based on what the primary key scheme is. It recommends the recovery path recommends something logical or something kind of a good default. And the same with the time frame. So the application recommends 6 months, but you can override that if you want something else. And
there's 2 different options. Yeah, there's the go ahead.
Yeah,
I think it becomes.
I wonder if it wouldn't be better to have the mock-ups before the text. Because then you see something, or the kind of the theory that I would have, or the reasoning for that would be, is if you look at the images first and you see things on the mock-ups, it might be easier then to read the text or to kind of connect the text to it.
Yeah, I think what it is that those 2 paragraphs have 2 very different. It's it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's recommendations based on a specific situation. So essentially, what you're trying to say is this is situation 2 of 3. By the way, if the situation is different and it's I don't know 5, then there's going to be a different recommendation. And then it's essentially the same thing for the second paragraph as well. You're just highlighting the fact that there's going to be something different if the scenario is different. Yeah.
Yeah, moving the images up might just do it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I get it now. I get it now. So I'll continue reading.
Yeah, but you know,
Oh,
I
no,
think
sorry.
it's totally okay that things don't always make sense initially if it takes you another minute to look at the images and reread it or so, because this is, I mean, this is not light reading here. This is not, you know, I don't know, Twilight or whatever.
Yeah.
It's pretty serious stuff.
Oh,
I don't know, what are people reading these days?
No offense to people reading Twilight, by the way. I'll just say that. But sorry, Twilight reader, if you're watching, or writer, if you're watching this. No, but I agree with Christoph. Like, this is my 4th time being exposed to this material, which has been an absolute, like, the fact that Michael wrote this is mind-boggling. But and still, you know, you have to still keep on reading it to actually get it, because, you know, yeah. So it's all good. That's how it is.
Okay, let's look at the images.
The fun thing is that covenants might make some of this obsolete, right? If we get them, you could have an effect like that. But let's continue.
Or price increase and higher usage of the network with respective transaction fee increase might 25x the fees, and this might also become not a thing anymore, and we'll have to figure out how to do this on Lightning or eCash or something. We'll see. Okay, so let's look at the images here. So first one, users can choose to enable a recovery path. Recovery path provides even more protection against losing your coins. It automatically lowers the amount of ragged signatures if you don't spend from your wallet for a long time. Cool, sounds good. Click enable. Now I see more option. After 6 months, 1 signature required. Yeah, that's I think I gave that feedback before. It's like, do I need to sign something now, or do I need to sign something after 6 months? Like, is this really clear that it is a reduction of the current scheme from 2 to 1 signature?
Mm-hmm.
This actually makes it a bit. I think that the text underneath it says, by default, the recovery path unlocks after 6 months. Users can edit this setting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, then I can edit after. How do I get to reminders? Is this just pressing continue? Probably. Okay. So alerts that remind you before the recovery path is unlocked. And I think, so I don't know if this has been shown or not, that this, do I understand that I can reset this? Like, do we need to say this gives you the option to reset it if you don't want it to unlock or something, or restart the timer?
Yeah, that probably should be in there.
Maybe it's already mentioned somewhere earlier, but yeah, because then it's like, cool, I'm gonna get a reminder, but you know, what does that mean for me?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's mentioned somewhere else, so it should definitely be in at least on this screen. And also good. I mean, it's a very valid point about what does it mean when the recovery path activates? You know, what the change is actually from the
Yeah, I mean that's where prototype is helpful, where you see all of these screens in quick succession and click through, and you then, because we're taking breaks between looking at all of this stuff. But if you prototype it, then you don't take breaks. You see things. You're more in that context mentally. Okay, note that the scope of this feature is quite narrow because it is aimed at an audience with basic knowledge of Bitcoin. You may want to offer more customization options based on your own target audience. Okay, got it. All right, who wants to save for later?
I'll take a stab.
By the way,
All right,
we're
save for
sorry,
later.
just one real quick. We're not even halfway down the page. We're 40 minutes in, which is fine. Just because we need to figure out what we want to
We'll
cover.
see. Exactly. All right, save for later. As you can see, creating a multi-key wallet involves a lot of steps in the wallet application itself, probably should be here, as well as on the corresponding signing devices. Yeah, sure, because I have to connect them and import the public keys and stuff. This can take quite a while, depending on the chosen key scheme. It also requires that users have all extended public keys ready and available beforehand. Oh, I didn't read that before now, so maybe that's something that could be at the beginning. It's likely that not all users will be able or willing to go through the entire process in one setting. This is why our application offers a feature called Save for Later. It allows users to pause the wallet creation process at any time and pick up later. The application saves the current state of the wallet locally on the device. Okay, so and on the images, I see there's at the bottom of the first one, there's a Save for Later button, and I guess when I click on that, a little sheet pops up where I can save it for later. And when I close the application, when I get back to it, I see that there's an uncompleted or a wallet that is not yet done. And I can pick up where I left. That's nice, because I always forget my Xbox at home.
Okay, how about we keep going, just for the sake
Cool.
of time.
Shall I do the next one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, wallet backup. Enabling the recovery part is the final step before the wallet is created on chain. So this is the last step. I'm almost there. Once it has been finalized and can be used, our application prompts the user to download the wallet backup file. This is important because for multi-key wallets, it is not enough to back up the private key to recover the wallet. Okay. The backup file contains all the information necessary to recover the wallet, except the private keys. This means that it is okay to store the file digitally in a password manager, for example. However, since it contains all extended public keys, anyone who finds this file can potentially monitor all transactions in real time. Okay. Because users might not want to back up the wallet straight away, users will be able to access the backup file and other important information on the wallet settings page at any time. And here we have this image where the wallet has been created. I'm receiving confirmation, and it's letting me know that without the backup file, I will not be able to recover the wallet on another device if anything happens. So it's really encouraging me to save it. Saving for later is not recommended. And then that is my settings screen here. Sign keys wallet and export backup file. Okay. If anyone wants to move on to the next one.
Yeah, the only thing here, a wallet is never created on chain. That needs to go. That concept just does not exist.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Should I do the next one? Or
Go for it. Or I
Okay.
can. You tell me.
okay, you go for it.
Okay. Cosigner wallet import. There's one final step before Alice and Bob can start using the new savings wallet. Alice needs, typo again, to import the newly created wallet to the wallet application on her phone. To make this experience easy and seamless, the application allows Bob to share the wallet configuration with Alice in two main ways, either by displaying a QR code that Alice scans with her app, or by sharing the wallet backup file. And also with the wording of wallet backup file, I mean, it's a coordination file, backup file, it's also something what is user facing and what is kind of the technical term. Okay, but okay, there are two ways to do this.
Yeah, I guess the
And-
third way would be that she also creates the wallet from the XPubs, in which case she would also need to add them in the right order and set up the identical recovery path. So
Yeah.
it's safer, it's easier if he shares the wallet backup file. In a well, they obviously trust each other, so that's fine. In other scenarios, maybe people in a more, what do you call it? Not hostile, but adversarial or whatever, where people don't want to trust each other that much. Maybe they want to set it up separately, but I think that's fine here, sharing the wallet backup.
Yeah, but I think this third option should go there as well, to say that it's possible.
Yeah, it could be a side note, maybe.
Yeah. And as for the images, they should probably mention or have a caption that this is the view from Alice's application, right? Because she imports the wallet now that I'm looking at it. So that probably is also something that could be improved.
Yeah, you could just add captions below.
Yeah. Okay, then spending from the wallet.
I guess one question I have is, and I don't know if this is how important this is. When if she imports the wallet here and then it says white treasure, I wonder if that naming is that actually transported in this file? Is that stored, or would she have to enter that somehow?
It's interesting. I did this exact thing with creating a multi-sig wallet in Sparrow, and then I imported it into Blue Wallet, and I did a 2 of 3. One was a seed signer, and the seed signer there was a name, kind of a seed signer. For the other two, there was no metadata probably. So I don't know how it actually works, but the idea would be, or if it's possible, it would be actually good if Bob names the device on his end, that would be transported somehow. That would be, I think, an additional level of kind of comfort.
Yeah. And what is it? What was the fingerprint again? It was the beginning of the hash of the extended public key, right? Something like that. So you might not need to show it. I think it was. I don't know. Okay. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, most of the apps show it. Also, Nunchuck shows it.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying if it's derived from the XPub, then there's no need to show it because it's the same. It's different variation of the same information. Okay, spending from the wallet. Creating transactions and spending from the wallet works like with any other multi-key wallet. We have covered how this works in the savings wallet reference design if you would like to learn more. Cool. All right, cool. I'm not going to go there, but good to know it's there. Managing the recovery path. As mentioned above, recovery paths are powered by time locks. Technically, however, these time locks are not applied at the wallet level, but at the UTXO level. That means that every UTXO has its own time lock based on the time when it was deposited into the wallet. To prevent the recovery path from kicking in and refreshing the time lock, a UTXO has to be spent and redeposited back into the wallet. Please refer to the custom spending conditions page for more information about how time locks work. Okay, I get it. Any questions or points there? Anything that came up for you?
I do have a question. Is this the bit where the miniscript comes into play? Because you mentioned here that this happens at the UTXO level. Is this where the miniscript comes in, or am I missing something?
What do you mean by miniscript coming in?
It says that the miniscript is what enables this to happen. Like this,
Mhm.
that's the underlying technology that enables this to happen. So is that what they mean by technically these time locks are not applied at the wallet level, but at the UTXO level? So is it at that UTXO level that the miniscript thing is doing its thing, if that makes sense?
Yeah, if I understand it correctly, it's a little bit confusing. Because miniscript it's just a developer tool in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a scripting language where you can create a wallet that has some rules baked in. That's basically it. And miniscript makes that easier for us to define those rules. But then the rules are basically baked into the wallet forever, and they can never ever be changed. It's just going to work that way. So those
Okay.
rules kick in on this UTXO level. So if you give me €5 and Michael gives me €5, each of the rules are applied to each of those €5 separately, not as the batch of €10 in my wallet,
Okay.
but
This makes
each
sense.
separately.
Yeah. All of this could also be done without miniscript, but it would be very much harder to code and to verify that it actually works.
That's what I've heard, that it's a little bit kind of dangerous to write this kind of Bitcoin script on your own. That you run the risk of making a pretty fatal mistake, and the many script compiler will kind of safeguard you against stuff like that. I've also heard, I don't know if this is true, that it can produce more like concise and compact Bitcoin script than a human would normally come up with. But I might need to be fact checked on that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I don't remember who was reading again. My mind went all the way into that topic we were discussing.
Well, we have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. So we have preventing activation, then we have resetting, and then we have recovery. I don't think recovery is necessarily important part of this. I think this
Agreed.
is just general. So maybe, I mean, if you're okay, we can go 5 minutes longer and maybe just make way through the preventing recovery and resetting the path.
I do have to jump in exactly 5 minutes because I have
Okay.
to take a train. So if I'm happy to read for the next 5 minutes and then I can jump.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
And I think resetting is very similar to preventing, or it is a bit different, but it's the same basic mechanism. So
Should I start with preventing the recovery path activation?
If you have time, you have to help in 4 minutes. We can also just take it from here if you're no need
I
to
think
stress
I'm going
out.
to. I think I'm going to hop. I'm going to publish my newsletter, my weekly blog post,
Okay.
and then I'm going to happily begin my weekend.
Okay, sounds great. Enjoy the
All
train
right.
ride.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Happy weekend.
bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Cool.
All right.
I guess I can
can keep-
continue
I can-
since I was reading the other part, or do you want to?
Good. No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, this is a trickier one here. So preventing recovery path activation. So if Bob has 3 UTXOs in his wallet, which he received at different times, he actually needs to refresh 3 different time locks, because as we just read, time locks are applied on a UTXO or coin level, or received coin level, or transaction level, if you will. This can quickly become cumbersome and costly, as every refresh transaction implies on-chain transaction fees. To reduce this complexity, our application offers a unified time lock reset experience. Sounds intense by default. This simply means that it uses the UTXO that is closest to being unlocked as the trigger to start the process. In the background, however, all UTXOs are automatically batched together. This allows us to show only one time lock, which makes it easier to understand for users and is more in line with their expectations. Okay, that's kind of an assumption what the expectations are.
Yeah.
An added benefit of that approach is that as a result, Bob has only one UTXO in his wallet, well, in their wallet, after the recovery path has been reset. Okay, makes sense. I mean, practically speaking, with the transaction fees, I guess it depends on how often you get these transactions coming in, but you would probably you would just move you would consolidate all the time, basically. Seems to make sense.
And probably this should also be mentioned at the place where you create that recovery path, where you enable it, that resetting it will kind of incur some fees.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, so that makes sense. And but I mean, generally the idea is that the wallet just tells the user when and what needs to be done and tries to make an intelligent recommendation.
Yeah.
For the So it says here, okay, recovery path unlocks in 3 days. Open the app to reset the activation lock for savings wallet. Okay, got this push notification. Cool, thanks for keeping me informed. Then the home screen shows the same message. Okay, that's great. So I can't really miss it. I tap it. Your recovery path needs to be reset every 180 days, and it unlocks in 3 days. Okay, cool. I can reset now, or can see more options and advanced options. The recovery path activates individually for each coin in your wallet. You can reset the timer for all coins at once, or just for the ones you selected. Okay, makes sense. Doesn't tell me why I would do one or the other, but tells me the options that I have. Interesting how it says here locked coins. It's not really that the coins are locked, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if that term.
Well, the recovery, the recovery path is locked for these coins.
Yeah.
But that's a good catch.
Then I have these little timers here. Okay, makes sense. And at this time, the user has already used this wallet for almost 6 months, and they've made several transactions. So they kind of get it by now a little bit. It's not the first experience anymore. Create reset transaction. To reset your recovery path, we will create an internal reset transaction. All funds remain in this wallet, but need to be sent to a new address. Okay, makes sense. Same amount. Yes, internal transfer. Fees. Very nice. Only $1.75. Create transaction for signing. Okay, sign transaction. And then you go through the expected signature signing process. Probably almost don't even need to repeat that here. Could just link to same sign process as above. Recovery path has been refreshed. Okay, gotcha. So Alice signed it too, and then we have this reset here. Okay, and now I see this consolidation of my coins here in the advanced screen. Okay, and then here in my transactions, I see this recovery path reset. I guess I wonder if, I guess this is probably just front end level or client level. So if the wallets don't exchange this, then it will only say recovery path reset on my application, but not on Alice's. And it would not say Bob Sinclair. Oh, well, I guess that's my name here. Maybe the title could just be Recovery Path Reset. Doesn't need to show my name. But yeah, if the wallet's restored, and yeah, this is not on-chain information, what the purpose was, but it's not, that's never. Okay, sounds good. Okay, I don't have any, we're short on time and I don't have any huge questions here. Makes sense to me. Okay, to give users additional flexibility, our application allows users to selectively manage the refresh behavior for individual UTXOs via the advanced options feature. This is similar to the coin control functionality available in many wallet applications. Yeah, it seems like we'll never get away from coin control in one way or another. Yeah, makes sense. Whenever I look at designs, I always wonder if this can be made simpler somehow. Fewer explanations, fewer UI elements. But I wonder if this can be here and still be reasonable to users.
Yeah. So normally you wouldn't, probably a user wouldn't, and I'm sorry, the Jitsi can't access my camera anymore. I got kicked out previously. But you wouldn't you'd probably even go into the advanced options. You would just, say reset now, send the transaction. I mean, you could maybe abstract this one away too, or make it more condensed. But it's always going to be a transaction in the background, right? So it's and there are fees involved, so you will want to show that.
Yeah. Cool, sounds good. And then rest of the page, we have the reset of an activated recovery path. So once it actually kicks in, you can reset it again. So you don't reset it before it kicks in, you reset it after it kicked in. Then we have wallet recovery, switching to a new phone, replacing a device. You're replacing a signed device, you have the same private key. Okay. Conclusions, design consideration, technical considerations. Cool. Yeah. I mean, it's quite the intense page, I think, overall. But
yeah,
it's also a kind of an advanced feature.
Yeah, it's definitely advanced.
Yeah.
and these different, especially the thing with the UTXOs as well. It's if the recovery path activates for one or two of these UTXOs and not for others, you also have to differentiate that because not. Yeah, so it's a lot to think through.
An interesting thing could be like here in the savings wallet, we have this prototype at the top that takes you to Figma. You can click through most of the experience. I wonder if that could be a nice thing for this page as well, where you kind of take a step back out of all the text and all the explanations. You just kind of click through things. That could be a nice addition too.
Yeah, definitely, and it's not going to take that much time, right? It's pretty easy.
You've already designed everything.
Yeah,
and I like the designs. Like I said, there are some elements here that I'd like to merge back into the Bitcoin UI kit.
Which ones?
It's let me see. Like here, this key selection here, these little boxes. I like those. You're using more like these filled shapes and the dotted outlines in a few places that I don't use. There's an icon here with the clock with a little Z in there. I think these little container elements here are quite nice. That doesn't exist. So just some not huge variations, but nice little additions there. Okay, and generally, so we have what you did was the custom spending conditions page, how it works, which explains the underlying tech of all of this stuff. Then time-based recovery, which is a feature based on all this stuff. And then what's the next one? What are you working on right now?
Yeah, I wanted to do a variation of this time-based recovery where it's not just activating and kind of lowering the signature threshold, but where basically an emergency key set gets activated.
Mhm.
That was kind of the idea. For instance, if you have children that are
Yeah.
already big enough that they and have keys,
Mhm.
then because you don't know, maybe both parents die in an accident,
Yeah.
right? And what happens next? So that's kind of the even more severe use case.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of the what is it, decaying or softening security, it's a separate key set.
Yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Okay.
But I think for today, I think we're all good. Or Jana, Lana, Stephen, Jay, do you have any questions? Otherwise, we're gonna wrap this up.
No, but that was amazing call, this one and before when we all talked about merch and everything. Thanks, guys, for everything.
Awesome. Thanks for joining in. I hope this all made sense. It's quite the intense page here that you're listening in on.
Yeah.
No, it's
But
amazing.
some good stuff to improve already. So I'm gonna take another stab at it next week.
Yeah. And then we'll talk to Liana and then implement all these designs so we can start actually using this stuff.
Yep.
Can't just stay theory. But cool. I'm gonna stop the recording here. Thanks all for tuning in.
Yep.